The UFC cooked today. They fucking came out with some fucking amazing fights. The big ones that came out were Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot. And the co-main event to that fight is Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige. Another big fight was Giga Chikadze versus Alex Caceres for the August card. And then, there's a few other fights like Taylor Lapius versus Moon Gafriov. And, another fun one was Sadiq Yusuf versus Edson Barboza. That one's pretty fun, but I feel like there's a little bit of weird matchmaking. I would have rather it have been Giga versus Sadiq Yusuf and Barboza versus Alex Caceres, but I'm not too fussed. They're both good fights. There was some other fights as well announced. Daniel Rodriguez versus Santiago Ponzinibbio just got announced for the September 16th card, which is like the Cinco de Mayo card, or maybe not Cinco de Mayo. One of them like Mexican holiday card things, something like that. Mexican Independence Day card, I think it was. Sorry, I'm not American or Mexican, so I don't really know what the actual event and stuff is called. But yeah, that should be a pretty good fight. I don't know who I'm gonna pick for D-Rod versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. They're both a bit washed now, but I might have to go with. This isn't my official prediction, but I think I'm leaning Daniel Rodriguez. I'll lean Daniel Rodriguez just because it's only been knocked out once. It was his last fight, but Santiago Ponzinibbio's, I think his chin's just gone. Like, not completely gone, but he's not as durable. He's taken a lot of damage, so that should be a winnable fight for D-Rod. And then for Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige, I'm going to go Bryce Mitchell, but Dan Ige, if he can keep it standing, he can give him a lot of problems because he's got a sort of similar style to Ilia Topuria. Obviously, the boxing is by far not as high level as Ilia Topuria, but he's got that sort of same like I don't know. He fights sort of like Ilia Topuria. If Topuria didn't have the technique he had as well as the power, like I don't know how to describe it. Like Dan Ige's fight style is weird. Like there was a point where I didn't know what he does. Like I didn't know if he was a striker or a grappler, but I think he's now gone into more just being like a power puncher. But Dan Ige, like, I don't know, he's been taken down quite a lot in his career, like by the Korean Zombie. Mozvar Ivalev like beat him everywhere. It was like, yeah, he just destroyed him in every facet. And like I don't think, like I get Mozvar's undefeated and he's got all this hype, but I don't think Ivalev is as good as people think he is. Like personally, like he's good, but I don't think he's like championship level, and he literally like destroyed Dan Ige. But Dan Ige had a really good fight against Josh Emmett that he could have won. I thought Emmett won, but it was a real close one. And he knocked out Gavin Tucker, but I think Bryce Mitchell's pretty durable. I know he got dropped by Ilia Topuria, but I mean it's fucking Ilia Topuria. Like the guy's like probably the hardest hitter at featherweight. But yeah, he's shown in his career he can be taken down, and I think if you're fighting Bryce Mitchell and if he gets you down, especially early, that he's gonna win. So I'll go with Bryce Mitchell by decision. I don't think he'll finish Dan Ige, but I reckon he'll just hold him down, destroy. It'll look really similar to the Charles Rosa fight. I reckon. Like we could be getting like Mitchell 30-25, something like that. I reckon it'll just be pure domination from Bryce Mitchell. And for Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot, it's really interesting because it's a 5-rounder. But I reckon just because Fiziev's takedown defense isn't his problem, it's more so his like energy endurance and his cardio. But I think early he can keep it standing. And if that is the case, which I imagine it will be, I think he can knock out Gamrot. Gamrot's taken so much damage his last few fights. Got dropped by Arman. Got dropped by Dariush. Got dropped by Turner. Like when the fight's on the feet, he's always getting hit and he's always getting rocked and he's getting hurt. He's got a good chin, he's got good recovery, but the amount of damage he's taken, I think Fiziev can get him out of there. Fiziev cracked RDA's chin, and RDA is like known for having a really good chin. Like RDA's only ever been finished like by Jeremy Stevens and Eddie Alvarez. I get RDA's a bit older, but still a really good like achievement to finish somebody as durable as RDA, especially because he did it later as well. So he's showing he can go, like, I think it was in the 4th round that he finished. RDA, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, it was in the 5th. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. He can definitely, yeah, he's always going to have that danger factor. Wow, yeah, I didn't realize it was in the 5th round. Yeah, okay, yeah, Fiziev's definitely got a really good chance here. Like, because even if Gamrot gets people down, besides Kimoraing Jeremy Stevens, he's more of like a lay and pray type of fighter. And if you lay and pray on Fiziev, which he's hard to get down anyway, eventually he's going to just let you lay on top of him. And he's going to get his breath back. He's going to come back too. And then the next round, he's just going to knock you out probably. So I favour Rafael Fiziev really highly here. So I'll say he gets it done early just because Gamrot's taken so much damage. So I'd go first round TKO for Rafael Fiziev here. And then moving on to the next fight that got announced, it's Giga Chikadze versus Alex Caceres in Singapore. Now, this one's really weird because there was a lot of talk about Brian Ortega versus Giga Chikadze, but I guess that didn't come to. I don't know what Brian Ortega's doing. He's just sitting on his ranking. I don't know. Brian Ortega hasn't fought since July of last year, and he's still like higher ranked than Ilia Topuria. It's just I don't know what he's done to deserve like these high rankings, but I guess that's just what happens. But for Chikadze versus Caceres, I think I'm going to go with Giga Chikadze, but it is a like dangerous matchup for him. These two were actually booked against each other in 2020. I think it was around it was around that 2020 or 2021. Yeah, not quite sure. I know they were definitely booked against each other. I know that though for sure. They were scheduled to fight in August. Wow, August again. The 29th of August in 2020. And Caceres ended up fighting Kevin Kroom instead. Wow, they're fighting almost to the date they were originally meant to fight. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'll go Giga Chikadze here just because Caceres, he's good, but he took so much damage his last fight, and like he got dropped by Chu Sung Woo. He's been dropped quite a few times, and he's taken a lot of damage in his fights. So I reckon Giga can hurt him with leg kicks, beat him up a little bit, and probably I don't know if he'll finish him. Caceres is tough, but I know he could definitely drop him and win rounds that way. But it's still a dangerous matchup. But I favour Giga in this one. For Taylor Lapius versus Moon Gafarinov, I'll go with Taylor in this fight. Just Gafarov, he didn't look the best in his last fight. I'm just basing it on that, to be honest. Like, I don't think Gafarov is really UFC level. Like, I could be wrong. But like he got beaten up pretty badly in that fight, if I'm remembering correctly. But I haven't watched any tape on this, so maybe if I watch tape, I'd find something else. But early lean is Taylor, and then the last fight that I'm going to talk about is Sadiq Yusuff versus Edson Barboza. Now, this one's really exciting. These two were also originally scheduled against each other, and also in October, I'm pretty sure, of 2020. Wow, they're really getting creative with this. With their matchmaking lately. But no, I like this fight though. I wanted to see this one when it was originally booked. I think I'll go with Edson Barboza. But, it's a dangerous fight. Yeah, they were. They were booked for the 10th of the 10th, 2020, and now they're fighting the 10th of the 14th. The 14th of the 10th. Yeah, so that's interesting. But, Barboza looked good in his last fight. He got a nice knee KO over Billy Quarantillo, and I think Quarantillo is like a harder matchup on paper for Edson Barboza. You know, Quarantillo is like a come forward pressure guy, and the fact that Barboza was able to beat him, who stylistically was like a nightmare matchup for him. You know, I think the fact that he's shown that he can now beat people who pressure him, like pressuring fighters were always his weakness, and the fact that he's like actually getting wins against pressuring fighters. I know he got that big flying knee over Beneil Dariush, who Dariush did everything right in that fight that he had to do to beat Edson Barboza, but it still didn't work for him. But obviously that fight against Quarantillo doesn't really tell you too much because Sadiq Yusuff is quite a bit of a different fighter, but Sadiq Yusuff's not like the most durable guy. Like, he's been KO'd before, although it was from like a weird slam and punches, but Arnold Allen dropped him, and like Arnold Allen doesn't really drop many people. Like, he's more of a decision guy. Like, he did end up going to a decision against Sadiq, but like he was rocking Sadiq and hurting him like a lot. Dropped him twice, like just like really put a beating on Sadiq, and he didn't even really land like too much like output, and he still dropped and rocked Sadiq. So I'd say I'd lean Barboza in this one, but if I did some tape study, maybe I'll change that mind. But early lean is Edson Barboza by KO. Like, hopefully Barboza goes on like a little bit of a run now. That'd be good just to see him against all these different featherweights. But yeah, that's I think those are the last fights that have been announced today. Yeah, nothing else. There's a few like interesting fights that have been put together for that Singapore card though. Sungwoo Chu versus Jano Erens. That's like an interesting one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, there's some like interesting fights coming up. I can't wait. Like that September 16th card's gonna be really fun. Like, there's some really fun fights on there already. Like Shavkat versus Kelvin Gastelum's. Like, I can't wait for that fight. Giga Chikadze versus Brian Ortega was meant to happen on that card, but I don't know what the fuck happened there. But it's not happening now, unfortunately. Obviously, because you know, Giga's booked against Alex Caceres. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to break down these fights because yeah, it was good because there hasn't really been many like cool fight announcements lately. So this was a good welcome change. But yeah, thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. I'll probably make another video.